JD Talking Sports. We are live on location. It's going to be live on location. We are live on location in Florida. And I wanted to start off talking about, I was talking to Josh last night. We were watching UFC. What was it? UFC. I already forgot what it was called. The UFC 297. And we're watching the end of the Raquel Pennington versus the Mayra Bueno Silva. And Bueno Silva ended the fight on her back with her hands behind her head like she was on a paddle boat. And I really was disappointed in that. I mean, you're in a championship bantamweight fight. You're fighting for a title, and that's how you end the fight, on your back. So, Josh is a big UFC guy as I, company of Jace guy, as am I. And we're both up late. We don't sleep very well. And Rob has joined us, and he, so I said something to him. I said Pennington was scared of what? He goes, to finish, to take the chance and finish. He said she played it safe, it seemed. She hugged her for like 2 minutes of the last round, and I said, I hate that shit. Yeah, that she was scared of what finishing, and she was scared, to take the chance, Buena Silva, and you're in a championship fight, man. And thank you, Broccoli Rob and Shari, for this wonderful shirt, which doesn't fit me as well because I got to drop some weight. But the guns are showing today. We just ran 4 miles and my body's killing me. And Josh just said some good stuff. And I said, dude, I got to lead the show off with this. And I said the Niners, Eric and Hyatt got married yesterday. And you know what makes a great wedding? It doesn't matter the food, which was great. Appetizers very good. But a band. You get people up and dancing, and they're not sitting the whole goddamn night. That is what you want at a wedding. People dancing, sweating their asses off. Had my penguin suit on. Michigan looked perfect. Sent pictures, everybody. Got a lot of good responses. That's what makes a great wedding. And, Eric and I had beautiful vows for each other. It was really nice. And Mark, our cousin, he was officiated the wedding. And something interesting they did at the wedding, which his rabbi had told him, that instead of the people reading the vows, which sometimes leads people to start crying, he read them and they could just look at each other and hear the words. And I never thought about that before, but I kind of like that idea. That someone else, hey, yes, yeah. I mean, that's a good thing, man. So Rob, I'm going to get you on a little bit. I got to do the Josh stuff first. I'll get you on a little bit. I want to do this Josh stuff, and I'm on a roll right now. And I thought that was really beautiful. So I'm talking to Josh last night. I said, I hate that shit. I said, the Niners, I hate on the back, all that stuff. I said, didn't sound like a good game yesterday because I missed both games. It was at the wedding. And he said, but got the win. And he said, pressure, it's a bitch. Some people can handle it, some can't. And I said, I agreed. He goes, another case of not how you start, but how you finish. And I said, the Packers were up 21-14 driving, and they turned it over. And then they missed a field goal at 21-17. Anders Carlson, in 5 straight games, he's missed a kick. 10 of the last 12. How do you keep a guy like that on the field? And I feel bad for Ernesto because that's a kicker. And I was talking to Angel this morning, and he says, hey, listen, I said 98, Anderson had to miss a kick the whole goddamn season. 15-1 Vikings, should have beaten the Falcons easily. Missed a field goal at the end, had missed an extra point field goal, missed one in the NFC Championship game. They ended up losing in overtime to the Falcons, a game they should have never lost. And Anders Carlson, I don't care if he was a draft pick this year out of Auburn, should not have been kicking. That's not a guy you need in the field. So enough on that. He said, but that was Love's first dip in the playoff water, and for the most part played really good. I said, agreed, exceeded expectation. Ernesto said if they won, they're going to the Super Bowl. I don't know about that, but yeah, they were going to go somewhere. And he says, Josh says, I compare to bowling. He's a big bowler. He says, I bowl with pressure a lot of times over the years, early in my career too, and I buckled a few times. Then I changed my mentality, and I became unstoppable in pressure time. So I said, what did you change? And he says, just throw a good shot. That's all you can do. Ice veins was what I always told myself. Because you can throw the perfect shot doesn't mean it's going to strike. I said, that's impressive. I said, instead of worrying about the perfect shot, make good shots. I said, it's on the show today. Loved it. He said, I was always worried about messing up. Instead, I flipped it. The watching the opponent drop their face when I'd strike, priceless. He said, I've shot 300 to lock up leagues. I love that pressure now. Ask Ernesto. If you need one person to throw three strikes in the 10th frame, who do you want it to be? He goes, I'm on that list, he said. And he started laughing. I said, great story. Because, we both, I told him, he says he doesn't mind doing it in person, But if he has to call into a show, whatever, he gets all nervous. And I told him when I audition, my adrenaline gets too high, I forget my lines, and it became to a point where I stopped acting because it wasn't. And my therapist recommended a hypnotist, which I've thought about using. I'm thinking about going back because I did the thing for Noah and his pulmonary cardiac rehab center. And that was the first time I'd done anything in front of camera and in front of someone else in a while. And I got a little nervous, and I said, just calm down, relax, slow down. And it worked. And that's the first time I've done that in a long time. And I thought that was kind of interesting where he said, come on. And he just says, we all get it. It's funny, when I do this show, I feel like I could do this for hours. And it doesn't get me all crazy like it does with acting, which I thought was kind of interesting. And he says, my name became the bus. I'd run over people in the 10th frame. My team would start yelling beep, beep when I would strike in close games of the 10th. So I thought that was interesting. I just loved it. So I said, I'm leading off the show. Company Jace. Josh is a guy who has been listening to my show non-freaking stop. He's the guy. And from there, Rob comes on and everything, and all the guys, and Aaron and Ernesto. So so I missed the games, and they're talking to me back and forth, and we're bashing Shanahan if he loses. Hey, Rob. Yeah, Rob. I saw a stat yesterday. So when Shanahan's trailing by 5+ points, this is Josh Dubow, who's a guy Jose has joined us, and it said that the Niners are now at 2-41, .044 winning percentage now, and trailing by 5+ points at any time in the fourth quarter. I guess you had it in the last. You saw some.
Well, heading into the fourth, if they were down by 5, they were 0-30 under Shanahan prior to yesterday. Now they're 1-30, and that's why those stats are just stats. I mean, they are that way until they're not.
But it's still 2-41 at any time of the fourth quarter. Shanahan is not a good stat. The only team worse since 2017 is the Panthers, are 1-69, but they got the win. And to me, who gives a shit? Like you said, who said that? Michigan says about Harbaugh, and Milton says. Harbaugh doesn't care if we win 17-16, 3-2, as long as they get the win. I listen, they got the win, right? Ugly, yep. But that kicker sucks. Carlson sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. That kicker is no good. He's been that way all season. To go back to real quick to something you're saying about Josh about calling in. I used to be so nervous. I would have been nervous about getting on with you.
Oh, really?
3-4 years ago, I had really bad anxiety in life, and I finally dealt with it. But I used to be so nervous calling into shows, and I would do it. And once I started doing it more and more,
right,
it just became natural for me because I stopped thinking about, oh my God, I'm going to be in air, everyone's going to hear me, because it just became routine. And sometimes, I have anxiety. All the things you describe, the heart racing, I get sweaty palms, my mind would just run over the same, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I would have it too. And I learned that really sometimes the best way is just push through it. Now, sometimes it's hard, obviously, and you mess up. But
right.
What I finally learned is sometimes the only way to do it is just to push through it. It sucks. But it's never going to turn out as bad as you think in your head is going to.
You know what Josh just said about? What do you think Josh just said when you said all that? What do you think? What do you think Josh's comment was?
We had this discussion. I forget now, but I've talked to him about it.
No. He said now he doesn't stop talking.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, there's different ways to deal with it. I used to rehearse what I was going to say when I called in. There's even times where I would write down the bullet points.
Okay.
And then I'd get on the air, and I would get one bullet point in, and then I'd be cut off, and that's it.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's right. But that's the thing with my auditioning. It was all or nothing. So if I had to get it, and then went in and so maybe I think this has helped me that maybe I could start auditioning again because I'm just like, dude, it wasn't fun anymore. I said I'd rather do my podcast. Yeah. I can control this stuff. I can't control the other stuff. But yeah. Yeah, so
and how that relates to football, like with Jordan Love, with the kicker and stuff. I think the difference, the kicker maybe not so much with Jordan Love on the interception late in the game. They say, I know, they said, he'll get better. I don't necessarily know about that. I'm not saying he won't, but with Josh throwing the bowling ball, like he has time to sit and okay, let me calm down. But when Jordan Love, have you seen the play where he threw the interception at the end of the game?
You sent it to me. He looked, but it was first down though, man. But it was first down. That's what
I think with things like that, you don't, once he hikes the ball, starts rolling out, he doesn't have time to say, okay, let me calm down, let me just